said he would be along.
And when you're kind of ready, seem to be kinder than.
It's 2 o'clock, so I'll call to order the Thursday, January 18th, 2023 commission meeting. I don't think there's anyone here for public comment. If everybody please stand, I'll lead us in invocation. I'll ask Commissioner Cook to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we're just thankful for this day and this new year. Father, we're thankful for allowing us to serve citizens of Glynn County. We thank you for our staff, all their family members, and we ask that this just be a safe, productive year. Lead, guide us, and just grant us your wisdom, and may everything be to your glory. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the Commissioner swearing in. Honorable Deborah Godwin Duncan will lead the swearing in for Clayton B. Watson and Wayne Neal. So I think you want them to come up there and stand in front of you?
Yeah, they need to come. All right. Stand up here.
Sure, wherever you want.
Right here is good.
All right.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You don't want to repeat after me?
No.
I state your name.
White Neal.
Do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner of the Brunswick-Glynn County Joint Water and Sewer Commission in all matters which require my official action to the best of my knowledge and skill. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money, and that I am a resident of Glynn County for the time required, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said public office according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support and defend the local act enabling the Brunswick-Glynn County Joint Water and Sewer Commission, as well as the constitutions of the state and of the United States. So help me God.
I do so swear. So help me God.
There you go. All right, I just need you to sign, please, sir. All three of these, and then I will sign. Okay? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, let me sign this one, and then we'll move on. So these to me, you have three folders. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Raise your right hand. I state your name, please.
I, Clayton Watson,
Do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner of the Brunswick-Glynn County Joint Water and Sewer Commission in all matters which require my official action to the best of my knowledge and skill. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public funds, that I am a resident of Glynn County for the time required, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said public office according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia, and that I
Charlie said he'd be here in about 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Judge Duncan. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Judge.
Good to see you again.
Do you get a lot on your plate? Oh, there's your pen, I'm really bad at thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
All
you.
Good to see you.
right, bye-bye, good to see all of you too.
Yeah, we're gonna have a reception if you wanna stay.
Okay, all right, well, thank you, I would, but I kinda need to go
Okay.
back, unfortunately.
All right,
Thank you, though.
okay.
Okay.
We're now gonna have a short reception to honor the two new commissioners. Let's adjourn to the back of the room here, please.
Wow, you got snacks and everything, huh?
Thank you.
So organized.
Put up with me again. Well, you can tell I don't like it over here too much.
everybody else, whoever put forth the reception. I want to welcome my two new commissioners to our commission.
Thank you, sir.
The next thing is election of officers. First office, we have to elect a new chairman, so do I have any motions for
Before we do
chairman?
that, Chairman, do you want to do an excused absence for Commissioner Stevens, Commissioner Roll?
Let's wait till we see who's going to be here.
I'd like to nominate Ben Turnipseed as chairman of the Brunswick Joint Water and Sewer Commission.
I'll
Second.
second that gladly.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next is for vice chairman. Okay. Next is for vice chairman. I'd like to nominate Tripp Stevens as vice chairman.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. I appreciate y'all's confidence in me. Hopefully, we'll have a good year again this year as we serve the citizens of Glynn County and move the commission forward. The committee appointments this year. Let's see, I have them right here. For Communications Committee, I would like for Commissioner Cook to be the chairman, Commissioner Stevens to be a member, and Commissioner Roll to be a member. Economic Development Committee, I'd like to appoint Commissioner Roll as the chairman, Commissioner Neal to be a member, and Commissioner Stevens to be a member. Facilities Committee, I'd like to nominate myself as chairman, Commissioner Stevens as a member, and Commissioner Cook as a member. Finance Committee, Tripp Stevens will be chairman, Commissioner Cook will be a member, and Commissioner Watson will be a member. Human Resources Committee, Commissioner Cook will be the chairman, Commissioner Strickland will be a member, and Commissioner Watson will be a member. Legislative Committee, Commissioner Neal would be the chairman, Commissioner Watson would be a member, Commissioner Roll would be a member. In Emergency Preparedness, Commissioner Strickland will be chairman, Commissioner Stevens a member, and Commissioner Roll a member. And Executive Director Andrew Burrows will also be a member of each of the committees. We look forward to working with y'all. We will have a Facilities Committee meeting and Finance Committee meeting probably every month, and all the other committees will meet on an as-needed basis. Appreciate y'all taking those assignments. If you have any issues with that, or you can't make it sometime, please let me know so we can make sure that we get the appropriate number of people at the committee meetings. We need to, Commissioner Roll has been in a pretty bad automobile accident. She's recovering from that. And I'd like to make a motion that we grant her absence from this meeting today. Can I have a motion to do that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to excuse her.
Motion is a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you. Also, Commissioner Tripp Stevens has had the flu, and he's still feeling bad, so can I have a motion to excuse him from this meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to excuse him as well.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. We'll proceed to the approval section of the agenda. Minutes from the December 15th, 2022 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is minutes from the December 15th, 22 executive session. Have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is infrastructure and easement dedications. Mr. Klein?
All right, Commissioners, good afternoon. Through private development activities, often the applicants present to the Joint Water and Sewer Commission infrastructure improvements with which the board will consider accepting as public infrastructure. Oftentimes, they also come along with easements. These are 3 different dedications we try to bring to the commission, normally during the facilities committee, bring to the full board this special commission meeting here. So the first one on the agenda is Capitol Square Road Extension, which was, I believe at this point, even dedicated to public right-of-way, so no easement involved, or sewer easement. There is a small sewer easement with this one. But it's a section of water line, force main, and, or water line and small easement. Second one is George Lotson Sewer Extension on St. Simon's Island. That is dedication of sewer infrastructure along with a small sewer easement. And the third one is on the south end, exit 29 area, Zellwood Drive, dedication of sewer infrastructure, small diameter force main down there. We attach for exhibits, record drawings, the dedication documents, and then easement documents as well if associated. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve these projects with associated dedications and easement.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions?
I do have one question, Mr. Klein. I see the number, the valuation of each one of these things that are being dedicated. Can you give me a sense of how that number is reached?
Certainly, Commissioner, great question. So you'll notice on the application there is a spot where the applicant has to indicate the fair market value of the improvements that are intended to be dedicated. And generally that number will come. Why is that number needed? Because once we accept it as public infrastructure, we incorporate that into our inventory. We also capitalize the improvements as well. So the number comes from the engineer of record, typically, the engineer that designed the improvements for the applicant. And what staff does is we take this application and a part of our review, we do look and compare that to values that we've seen on our projects that we bid. So we double check, make sure that the number makes sense to us, but we do lean on the engineer of record who then also certifies the pricing as well.
Right. So then, as long as you're comfortable with the number, then it goes forward.
Correct.
Thank you.
And this is what we would consider a fair number.
Fair number, correct.
Across the board for most of what we take over.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Commissioner, we do track projects that we bid out and whatnot. We do maintain a log of linear foot values and different things like that. So yes, we do go back and compare those to make sure that does make sense.
Thank you.
So it would be fair to say that if it was our structure that we were doing, that would be, the valuation would be the same, what we would consider.
Very, very close.
Very close.
They're in the
Okay.
ballpark, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item is banking, merchant, and investment services contract award. Mr. Owens?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Let's see. On December 1st, 2022, the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission issued a request for proposal number 23-015 for banking, merchant, and investment services. So far, for the last few years, Truist has been providing our banking and merchant services, and Synovus has provided us with investment services. We held a pre-proposal meeting on December 8th, attended by 6 firms, and of those 6, 4 submitted proposals in the 3 service areas, Bank of OZK, Comprise Technologies, Synovus, and Truist. We reviewed those, the commission, staff of the commission reviewed their proposals, and during the first week of January 2023, we conducted interviews. 4 of our staff members met with representatives from each of the 3 firms that we selected to interview with, Bank OZK, Synovus, and Truist. And we interviewed, evaluated, and scored their proposals, as you can see on the matrix below. At this time, we've decided we would like to recommend awarding Synovus the contract for our banking, merchant, and investment services. A number of factors came into play in this decision. You can see the list there, but just to hit a few of them, the flexibility of calculation and fees, no additional fees for the AP strategy card implementation, their online banking platform integration was completed in 2021. Lockbox process is clearly defined. Under merchant services, a very straightforward flat fee plus interchange pricing price structure. No change to existing gateway partner, which is authorized.net. Excuse me. Interface established with other customers for Harris Financial Suite software, which is the software we use in the finance department. So there would be no difficulty in integrating with Synovus. On the investment services side, they have a very strong and established service team with great depth of knowledge and resources and expertise. They'll be able to assist us with monthly reviews at no additional cost for our investments and cash flow forecasting, and no cost increase on the investment services over what we've already been paying under our current agreement. So we would like, sorry. So we would like to recommend that the full commission move to award our banking, merchant, and investment services to Synovus.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission approve the award of banking, merchant, and investment services to Synovus Inc. and authorize the executive director to execute the services agreement.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions?
I do have a question. On just the banking and the merchant side, are the fees comparable with what we're paying with to Truist now?
I believe they are, yes. That was definitely the, I think, ranked higher on the fees when compared against what Truist was proposing. Truist had actually increased their fees over what we'd currently been paying.
And I know that, I am assuming that the trend is away from the old-fashioned way of, cutting checks and mailing them, and we're moving more towards an electronic, almost all electronic venue?
Yes.
As much as we can.
That is certainly
And
part of our
this-
plan.
This will actually maybe enhance that or allow us to continue on that
I
path?
believe so. Synovus definitely has a very strong suite of products, and it's things that we have discussed, and we'll definitely be moving more in that direction.
Right.
We
Okay.
particularly went for our contractors for capital projects with the size of those invoices to making electronic payments there, just to avoid having to mail a check of significant value out that could get lost in the mail.
Yes, as we know, when one
Yes.
ended up in the wrong hands. Yeah, I mean, I think that's clearly the trend,
Oh, yes.
so, I mean, there's no question. So I think this will be a good fit, I think.
I also want to point out, this is all back-end stuff, all of the customer-facing, there should be no hiccups with anything customer-facing as far as them paying online, paying in our lobby, anything like that, by changing merchant services providers, be no impact to our customer base.
Right. In fact, I
How
think
soon are we looking at?
we are hoping to present the commission a resolution next month, and I believe we're targeting April as the date that we would have, make this crossover complete from Truist to Synovus.
And one other question, you mentioned that finance has the same software. Are we is it going to be more easier for us to communicate with the bank based on the same software that we have now?
I believe so, yes.
So we're not having to go out and purchase new software
No.
or anything like that for finance in
No.
order to,
Yeah, it should be a minimal effort conversion. We don't have to change any of our in-house software applications. What they have integrates with what we already have. So it's just a matter of setting up and making the right coding and programming changes.
Thank you.
I do have one more question. I'm assuming that one of the main things that you were looking at is customer service.
Yes.
And are you feeling pretty confident that our customer service will be either as good as or perhaps even better than what we are getting at the moment?
We are expecting definitely a more enhanced customer service experience with Synovus. Their presentation was far and above either of the other two that we had during the interviews, and they themselves definitely emphasized their customer service excellence. We've experienced a number of difficulties with Truist over this past year. Some of it technically related to their mergers that they've done in recent years, and some of it process related with how they do things. We've spent a lot of time with 800 numbers and kind of spinning our wheels. So we think that this move to Synovus will definitely solve those kinds of problems.
So we'll actually be able to talk to somebody without an automated system.
Exactly.
Instead of a room full of people talking in the background and while you're
And
talking.
we even have.
I think
some
we've had
of
that
the-
experience.
And we even have some of the representatives from Synovus with us here today. So.
Great,
Thank you so much.
Could y'all introduce yourselves to the commission?
Sure. I'm Emily Wilson. I'm the Government Relationship Manager for the state of Georgia.
Wayne Johnson, I'm the local market executive for Synovus, been with the company 39.5 years, so I've
Oh.
been 40 years as GM, so been around a few years.
Well, thank you for coming.
Nice to meet both of you.
Appreciate your proposal. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Owens. Look forward to working with y'all. Thank you. We'll go to the discussion section, financial statement, December 31st, 2022. Mr. Owens?
Yes, I'll be presenting our financials for December today. Normally, you're used to seeing Francis doing that, but today you'll have to look at my face for a little while. Our financial results for December 31st, 2022. First page highlights, we wanted to note the balance of $1,765,000 on the bond sinking fund. There was an interest payment in December of $402,000. That was offset somewhat by the normal monthly transactions that we make to fund the sinking fund of about almost $246,000. Number two, the accounts receivable balance currently at $1,444,638. That is net of the allowance for bad debts, which is currently at $30,199. We believe this has probably been the lowest.
Lowest I remember seeing.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
So definitely making, and one of the things that occurred to me is probably our involvement with the LIWOP program has helped to reduce our bad debts and thus our allowance for bad debts. Interest receivables, let's see, that has prior month a balance of $87,932, currently at $379,000, so very near our zero balance that we normally carry there. Unearned revenue, we had hoped that would be showing $4 million for the end of December. It is currently at $2 million. We're expecting another $2 million check from Glynn County for our ARPA funds. This was related to funding that was given for COVID. We have contacted the county and we should be receiving that check next week. Page 2. Very first item, customer deposits payable. Currently that sits at $2,726,000. That is a increase of $28,000 from prior month. The staff continues to monitor the deposits and refund those that meet the criteria for being accounts in good standing. For your information, that criteria is, I believe it's 36 months with no late fees or missed payments. Page 3. Our breakdown of revenues and expenses. Currently, operating revenues at $207,689. That's the amount that we are over budget for revenues. So we're making more money than we had forecasted on the revenue side by $207,000. We, however, have seen our expenses are over what we've budgeted, about almost $429,000. A big driver of that is purchase orders, so money that basically we're committed to spend. And also, you'll notice in the operating revenues, the negative for interest income, that relates to the fair market value adjustment that we've seen on our investments the first half of this fiscal year, actually the early portion of that half, when investment fair market values were decreasing.
So the 730 figure is for 1 month, or it's for the
No, that's
No,
cumulative.
that's the difference.
cumulative? Okay, I thought that's what it was, okay.
Year-to-date cumulative.
Year to date, okay.
Let's see, bad debt expense, that decreased a little bit this month, currently sitting at almost $80,000 for the year. And that is currently almost $30,000 below budget. Capital improvement fees, slow month in December, only 42,000 came in on that, putting us at almost $675,000 for the year. Page 4, that's the same information but broken down by departments. You can see that the expenses by department or division, the wastewater treatment and water production are showing the biggest expense overages at the moment, with wastewater treatment year-to-date expenses $3,449,000, being $536,000 over budget year-to-date. Water production, current expenses year-to-date $853,721, 147, almost 148,000 over budget.
I have a question here. When we do an open PO for chemicals or whatever is needed, does that give us any kind of a price guarantee, or is that?
For the POs, for example, water production, they put in POs for the year for their phosphate and chlorine, and that locks the price in for the full year.
So it's a really great practice.
Right. So
especially with-
water production, at the beginning of the year, puts in a PO for their full amount for chlorine and phosphate on July 1st. So that, it always looks over budget until like the 10th or 11th month of the
Right.
year when that PO gets
Just
spent down.
Draw down as
Yeah,
it's delivered. Okay.
Absolutely.
But it does lock the price in.
It does lock the price in.
Okay, great.
On page 5, our group insurance costs so far this year, through December 31st. We, you can see a cost comparison down at the bottom of that. In 2020, $1,837,000, 2021, $1,567,000, 2022, $1,473,000. Currently, we're showing as $37,637 under budget, and that's probably the closest we've ever gotten to being right on target budget-wise for that. Page 6. In the first top half of this, of page 6, notice the governmental finance account, $1,459,035. That is the money that we received in financing for the new VATCON trucks. Those trucks were delivered the last week of December, and the invoice is being paid this month, I believe either today or, yeah, today. And so next month, we should see that line either at 0 or just the line removed from our report.
Trucks will be in use next week. Had to get them a few things outfitted once they got here, but they'll be on the road next week.
The bottom half of page 5, of course, that's our investment accounts, our reserve accounts, with the breakout between what is held in the investment accounts and what is held in overnight cash. Currently a total of little over $33 million in investments, and overnight cash $7,842,000. We have seen, as I mentioned a little earlier, fair market values of our investments have been increasing. The next page, page 7, we show our SPLOST account with a $282,192 balance. Most of that balance is retainage. I'm not exactly sure of the timing on when that gets paid out, but, or, it depends on the projects, I'm sure. Total balance of all cash and investments, $74,750, or $74,758,750, which is down about $306,000 from prior month. We have the project cost summary sheet. Currently, total expenditures through December 31st, 2022. We've spent $8,115,000 this year, with encumbrances for another $17,345,000. More detail will come on the individual projects in the project review. And page 9. We wanted to note at the bottom of the page the GFA project expenses. So far, year to date, $6,391,755, with encumbrances of $7,798,806. Total GFA projects are just under $22 million, $21,990,000 to be specific.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Any questions? Thank you very much. Next item is capital projects photo report. Mr. Klein?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Janice. You got me set up very well here. Commissioners, thank you again. And thank you for the opportunity to present this to the full commission. As normally the picture report is only shared with the Facilities Commission, so it's a special treat for us to be able to share this with the full commission. So what we do every month is we provide a picture report. Pictures are can sometimes tell the story or help tell the story. So, and also maybe generate some more questions for us. These are projects that are actively in construction out in the field. There are many more projects behind the scenes, some in different stages of design and whatnot, but these are the ones where shovels are digging in the dirt. First one we're going to talk about is the Academy Creek Water Pollution Control Facility project, and I'll yield to Mr. Burrows to.
Yes, sir. So we're finalizing punch list items. They've continued to whittle away at the punch list items remaining. Remaining items include a lot of the electronics and SCADA issues that have to be tied together. What we've noticed in the project is some of the items shipped from manufacturers had some issues with the electronics when they showed up. I don't know if that's an issue because everybody's behind schedule trying to get things out the door as fast as they can. Not an installation issue, it's just when it showed up, some of the gadgets didn't work correctly. Getting those replaced. And we are still waiting on a redesign of the sludge offloading facility from our engineering partner in order to correct issues with that live bottom bin. But very close to finishing this up. Hopefully have this punch list completed pending the redesign, which will not be the responsibility of the contractor in the next month or so. Plant's operating very well. Did a GFA walkthrough today. GFA came by to they have to do periodic inspections to ensure we're spending the money that they gave us on what we told them we were going to spend it on, and they seem pleased with the results as we walked around today. So good photo there we got with the drone shot of the fog coming in off the marsh across the plant there. I think it's pretty. Some people think it's creepy when you see the fog and the steam coming off the wastewater plant, but I always think it's really pretty out there when that happens. That's a clarifier there at the bottom. Not part of the project, but we bought a new gearbox for that clarifier gearbox assembly to get it back up and running. The gearbox is in the center, allows the mechanism to rotate. Needed to buy a new one there and get that replaced. That got delivered last week, and the crane is on site today and working on removing a motor from the digester. Then they're going to hopefully get that installed tomorrow or first of next week.
Andrew mentioned about the clarifier and what needs to be replaced in the clarifier.
Okay, so on the clarifiers, as you can see there's that walkway, that bridge, and then there's an octagonal black structure in the center. That's the feed well. Pretty much everything other than that internal to those clarifiers need to be replaced due to wear and some issues with them not being level in some areas. So if you'll zoom in there, thank you. So there's weirs around the exterior, double-sided weirs because the water will come up on both sides, and a trough that needs to be replaced. That arm that you see extending right there, at the top, it pushes scum towards a scum box that you can see on the back side of the clarifier underneath the walkway. There you go. And that collects scum and gets that away and keeps it from leaving the facility. And then there's rakes on the bottom that push all of the sludge on the bottom to a center well so that it can be removed to either recycle through the plant or waste to the digesters. These are showing pretty considerable wear and tear, and something we're looking at hopefully getting replaced in the near future. And we have 6 of those that they're all the exact same setup. It's just moving from one to the other.
And this is equipment that's pretty much in operation 24/7.
We absolutely have to run 4 of them 24/7. Most days we run at least 5.
Okay.
And depending on flow rate, once the flow gets above, say, 15 million, we need all 6 of them.
So are you saying that all 6 needs to be replaced?
Yes, sir.
Basically, the solids are separated.
We would
from
get a
the
better price
liquid in those.
lumping it together than doing them one at a time.
Okay.
Andrew, can you go back to that first picture?
Yes, sir.
And you talk about the beauty of that with the fog rolling in with the steam. I think that is testimony to a man that loves his job. Loves what he does and finds the beauty in it. So,
They got a great photo out at Dunbar of the steam rising off the basins over the Christmas holidays. It was beautiful.
yeah.
It's not Chamber of Commerce.
Not on the Chamber of Commerce website. We don't think of the water at the wastewater plant being warmer than the ambient air temperature, but when it's 25 degrees outside over Christmas, there's a lot of steam coming off those basins.
Okay, next project in the picture report is our Pump Station 2002 force main replacement on Arnold Road, St. Simons Island. And talk a little bit about this one. That's the project location there, Demery Road on that first picture. Demery Road in the foreground, and then Arnold Road running east-west essentially towards the Atlantic Ocean down there. And the scope of the project, or the length of the project, is visible in that second picture, where you can see a little bit of the change of the temporary patch or cold patch that's on the road, a little bit darker asphalt color that's on there. So it came all the way, the force main replacement came all the way from Demery Road down to about even with the pump station itself. So this was necessary to replace an existing cast iron force main that was in very poor condition. Several repairs on that through the years. We've got some great pictures to share if you'd like to see what it looks like.
When's the paving schedule?
I'll let Mr.
Before the
Bruce-
end of the month. We had some conversations with Glynn County previously about what their plans were for Arnold Road, but the decision we made was to just move forward with the paving, and then whatever changes need to be made later, that can be handled at that time. But you asked me last month to provide a cost for what it internally cost us to do that project versus what we bid it out. We bid this out previously, and the bids came back at around $900,000. Parts and labor included, we were just shy of $400,000 to do the job in-house.
Good way to hold down the cost.
Yes. A lot of work that went into it. A lot of guys spent a lot of hours out there, but we were just shy of $400,000 to do it.
Okay. Next project in the report is the ARCO area. Little typo there, not ACRO, ARCO. ARCO area water and sewer extension. And we're currently about 30% complete on that project. We did have a little change in our contractor and subcontractor setup. The prime contractor has assumed the project and is self-performing the balance of the work on there. Second picture shows a little bit of the construction site there, looking at 9th Street between Magnolia and Dudley. And this was taken not too long after the cold snap we had that came through. You can see some of the brown trees, or the vinage or whatnot's in the trees. But anyway, that's a active construction site. Almost finished with 9th, and are about to roll into, several meetings ago, we were dedicated an easement in between one of the larger landowners or property owners out there, dedicated the Joint Water Sewer Commission, an easement to actually allow us to run the gravity main improvement behind the homes on at least one block where it makes easier connections. Septic systems, all these homes are typically on septic systems. Drain fields are typically going to be in the back of the house. So by doing that, it allowed us to not only make it easier to connect the new homes or the existing homes to the new line, we then could move that planned line out of pavement, so we didn't have to do pavement replacements. So it was a win-win for us. The property owner was very happy. We were as well. It made good sense to do that. So
When this project's finished, it'll bring on opportunities for about 400 parcels to tie onto the system.
very good project.
Most of them are on water already.
Most of them are on water already. There's be about 50 customers that will have the opportunity to get on the water system, about 400 additional sewer possibilities there.
And these are real small lots, as you can see, too, so.
Okay, moving along, next project, galvanized replacements, and I will yield to Mr. Burrows.
Yes, sir. So we've been doing some smaller galvanized replacements at this point. Our contractor that we were using to do some of the drilling, of course, demobilized over the holidays and is getting back on it next week is my understanding. We've been working a lot in the St. Clair neighborhood on St. Simon's and fixing to move into the Wesley Oak Circle neighborhood over there. We've ordered the materials to do that job. But you see there, Miss Janice at the top is investigating a 1-inch galvanized valve that we removed from St. Simon's.
Can you tell us, Miss Janice, what you found?
I found that there was a good amount of tuberculation in the middle of it.
Very
and
good.
that the part was definitely no longer usable.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then
He's been prepped.
on the bottom there, our water production supervisor, our water distribution supervisor, Mr. Alvin Hall, likes to show us his finds. So he brings them in there to the office, and there you see some of our inspectors taking a look at it. That came out of CPALM's, a 2-inch galvanized section T and valve that came out of CPALM's. That over the Christmas holidays had some freezing issues and got snatched out of the ground. So
What's the estimated age of that pipe?
galvanized would have been late 60s probably.
Late 60s, 70s, yeah, I think
Wow.
when that was probably put in the ground.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, that's Alvin, Mr. Alvin Hawley, water distribution supervisor. He likes to bring me exhibits from and I enjoy them. So every once in a while, something will show up in my office on a piece of cardboard, and I go, "Oh, where'd that come from?" It goes into the museum, but if you'd like to see it, it's in there right now.
Yes.
Different beasties from the field. All right.
Are we saving certain items from this to show the community sometime in the future?
We save a handful of these items to show to community groups and things like that, because there's no better educator of why we're doing the project than like Miss Janice looking down that valve there and seeing how grown up that pipe is compared to what a new one looks like.
Just to emphasize, along with every one of these pieces of archaeology that come out of the ground, our mapping is updated with the new infrastructure that goes in too. So not only is the physical infrastructure being replaced, our mapping is becoming better and better with each one of these two. So we know what is in the ground. Okay, next project, meter replacements. And again, I will yield or I'm happy to.
I'll handle it. Yeah, so we're about 60% through with our meter replacement project, a little over 18,000 meters in the ground so far out of the roughly 30,000 that are to be replaced. You see there, M&E is our contractor. They have multiple individuals installing these meters. They took the opportunity down there by the marina to educate some of our younger customers on what a water meter does and what goes on in a meter box. You can see that's a good shot there of the antenna connecting down into the meter and coming out above. It sets into a recessed hole that they cut into the meter lid, and that antenna will transmit that data back to us without us having to go out and read that meter anymore. And then you see a couple more of their staff installing meters and taking a couple of meters out of the ground. You see the guy on the bottom looks like a decent little shower while he was trying to install that meter. Doesn't look like the curb stop was quite shutting off all the way on that one. So I'm sure that over the holidays, that was a refreshing spray of warm water for him at the time. And Dunbar Creek, the wastewater plant on the island, we are kicking back off on construction there for several months. We haven't had much of an update because we've been waiting on materials. Well, the piping has shown up for us to separate the return activated sludge lines. Currently, they come back into one junction box, and then we don't get an even flow spit between those two basins. So they are installing the piping, and they will come up over the side of the pipe and 90 across into the basins, so we can have separate control of those lines into the individual basins. The diffusers to install in the bottom of the basins are, spoke with the contractor Tuesday, scheduled for delivery February the 24th. And so the hope would be those get installed shortly thereafter in that tank to the back there that's been painted, so that we can get that one back online, drain the other one, clean it out, and get the diffusers in there at that point. The filters and UV equipment that has been ordered looks like March and May. I forget which one is March and which one is May, but one of them is March, one of them is May for delivery for that. And we've got structural drawings that are under review now for the improvements to the post-aeration basin, where we will install the UV and filter equipment. So contractor hopes by the 1st of February to be in there doing the concrete work necessary to install that new equipment.
Okay. All right. Another one of our very visible projects here is our elevated storage tank rehab. Rolling project here. And the two tanks under rehab right now are the one at Glen Place Mall next to Pepper Tree. And that is the one where if you drive by, and we've gotten several questions and calls in on this one, what are those spider webs hanging down off the tank? Those are actually cables hanging down where the contractor will come in and hang a curtain. And the reason for the curtain is while they're blasting, because this project will blast the interior and exterior to white metal or bare metal before they recoat it. It's to keep the sanding debris, blasting debris, which is called Black Beauty. It's a non-silica material, so it doesn't cause any health issues, but we still don't want that stuff drifting anywhere. Hits the curtain, drops straight down to the ground. So then also when they're painting, any kind of drift or overspray gets caught by the curtain as well. So that's
It's about 60% done with the interior blast on that tank.
yeah. Along with this, we're getting some valve rehab as well on the interior. And the second tank is Oglethorpe on St. Simon's Island, about midway up the island.
How much of that's going to be replaced in the Oglethorpe? Is it most of it?
It includes, scope of work is a lot of the valving, so the valving repairs if needed. One of the things of removal and replacement, we just met on site with one of our communications folks that has communications equipment on our Oglethorpe tank, AT&T. When that tank was put up, technology's changed since then. There is a jumble of conduits that go up the center of that, and they're actually strapped to the ladder and pretty confining, tight, and they're actually going to remove that stuff. AT&T is coming at their expense. Remove that stuff so we can go in and blast everything appropriately, get it done what it need to. And what they're going back with is about 5 cables in total. So it's removing a lot of that relic infrastructure, conduits and whatnot that is no longer needed. So rehab is a time and chance to clean things up, to do a little housekeeping.
Yeah, so as far as replacing, most of that will not be replaced, but it will be blasted and painted.
Yes.
Right.
And
So-
a lot of that's just surface rust that needs to be
Right.
taken care of. It's not, they're still functioning appropriately. They just need a little TLC.
Yeah. It'll look brand new when done. Altitude valves and things like that, part of this work is to be sent out and rehabbed. So, all right, that's the end of the picture projects at least.
Have they started work on the Oglethorpe tank yet?
Oglethorpe, yes, sir. They have a little bit. They've already done a little bit of demo inside with the old ladder.
Okay.
There's some welding work going on. That's about the extent of what's going on there so far.
And then, didn't have any photos of this, but we did, if y'all have noticed, we did paint the exterior of the building. That has been completed. And we're fixing to do some HVAC improvement replacements for some of the HVAC units we have on top of the building here. So our ongoing facilities improvement projects are making good progress at this point, and hopefully get the HVAC replaced, and then hopefully tackle the storm drainage issues we have in our back parking lot. So we can get rid of our wooden bridge out there, so you can walk to your vehicle.
Next item is Executive Director's update.
Yes, sir. We have reserved a table, the Georgia School of Business. It does an annual Economic Outlook Tour. They will be doing the Economic Outlook Tour for coastal Georgia here February the 8th at 11:30 on Jekyll Island. If you would like to sit at our table, please let us know, and we'll be happy to reserve you a seat for that. And the only other thing, yesterday we held a long planning retreat with the commission. Appreciate everyone's attendance and input at that. As always, a long day, but a very helpful day as we kind of chart out the course of the year for what we're going to do, and looking forward to getting a lot of things accomplished this year towards those goals.
Any commissioners got anything to say? My update, first off, I want to commend everyone who came to our retreat. I thought it was, we had excellent participation from the people there. Unfortunately, I had three members who were not able to make it. But we got a good input from Andrew for us to be thinking about as far as what our capital improvement plans are going to be this year. And we just wanted to give you a little taste of what the pictures are. So if anybody wants to come and sneak into a facilities committee meeting, you get to see some nice pictures like that. We won't have Janice in too many of them, but and that's always a good part of our meeting. But I appreciate that the new commissioners getting sworn in. Wayne's been on our board for a long time, so he's kind of an old hat, but we want to welcome Clayton to our commission, and we look forward to working with you.
At least you didn't say old geezer, so.
Well, that's all relative. We do need to go into executive session, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's personnel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to go into executive
Motion to
session?
go into executive session, personnel.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're adjourned to go into executive session. favor? Okay, we're back in the regular business. Can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve funding of the supplemental executive retirement plan in the amount of 10% of last year's annual compensation.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
And we are adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.